Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana
Yashodanandana
Brajajana Ranjana
Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Yamuna Tiravanachari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Hare Krishna Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for joining. So we are going to discuss about the demons in Krishna Lila and the demons within. So this is a session 4, and there are so many demons inside our hearts, inside my heart. So therefore, Krishna killed a lot of demons so that we can learn a lot of lessons, and how we can uproot those demons, how we can identify those demons. What are those demons? So Krishna killed so many demons so that we can learn these beautiful lessons. So I'll talk about the Yamala Arjuna Trees, and then Manjulali will speak on the BakaSura. Okay, but before that, we will seek the blessings from the Guru Parampara so that the right words can come through for the right intention and for the right purpose is to purify ourselves by remembering Sri Guru, Krishna, and Bhagavan, and the Vaishnavas. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vachakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Gurave Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So last time we discussed about the few demons, but today our topic will be Yamala Arjuna Trees. So we have all heard this story multiple times in the Damodar month, that how Krishna was bound by the grinding motor by Mata Yashoda, and then he uprooted these trees. So we will not spend a lot of time on this pastime, but the lesson is very, very important. That who are these demons or these personalities representing the sons of Nalkuvera and the sons of Kuvera, Nalkuvera and Manigriva? What do they represent? So this story or this pastime comes in Canto 10 of Srimad Bhagavatam, text number 10, when these personalities are actually, I'll read few verses from the translation, and then we'll discuss the story also in very brief and the lessons. The Shukdev Goswami said, text number 2 and 3, O King Parikshit, because the two sons of Kuvera had been elevated to the association of Lord Shiva, of which they were very much proud, they were allowed to wander in a garden to Kailash Hill on the bank of Mandakini River. Taking advantage of this, they used to drink a lot of liquor called Varuni, accompanied by women singing after them. They would wander in that garden of flowers, their eyes always rolling in intoxication. So these are the introduction of these personalities, Nalkuvera and Manigriva. The point to be noted here is that they were elevated to the association of Lord Shiva. They were the associates of Lord Shiva. They were the sons of Kuvera, the treasurer of wealth, or the demigod in charge for administering wealth and keeping all these records. So in the Niti Shastras says that Nevam pashyati janm andha kamandha eva na pashyati arti dosham na pashyati madon matta na pashyati. There are four kinds of blind people. One is blind by birth because of past karmic reactions. One is blind by lust. Bilamangal Thakur's example, Silhana Mishra. He couldn't see the right and the wrong. One is blind by wealth. One doesn't see the right and wrong. By hook or crook, I just want wealth. One is blind by false pride. So in this case, these personalities also fall. They had a lot of wealth, they had high birth, and they were proud because of that. So when the jiva becomes proud, forgets one's real position, then these problems come. So Nalkuvera and Manigriva basically represent the the pride which comes due to the intoxication with wealth or the opposite sex or the addiction to other things, and finally it leads to loose speech and shameless towards other living beings. One thinks I am better because I have more wealth, or I have more learning, or I have more any material qualification, beauty or power, prestige, etc. And that leads to fall down. As we say in English, pride comes before the fall. So this is very, very important that Zolas Radhanath Swami Maharaj was explaining that sometimes in the spiritual circle also one may think, oh, I have close association of Guru Maharaj. I am very dear to him, or or I know him more than what others may know, or I talk to him more or on a personal level than what others may be in a position to, or other god brothers or god sister. So this is also any point anywhere when we think that my position is superior to others, or I am better than others, then one loses in spiritual life. Very, very simple formula. In spiritual life, the more one advances, the more one thinks oneself to be more humble, like a blade of grass. In the material life, the more one advances, one thinks I am better, or I have more wealth, or I have more beauty, or I have more people working for me, or I have a bigger house than someone else may have, or I have a bigger car than someone else. In the material world, it all leads to pride. So one is not humble and one is not grateful for what one has. So therefore, one will misutilize it, like how Nalkuvera and Manigriva kind of did. They forgot, and then they forgot the presence of the great soul like Narada Muni. So Maharaj was explaining that that sometimes in US there may be a big bungalow, big homes, and outside there will be big dogs or big guards, not allowing the saintly people to go in. There are so many gates and checks and processes that the saintly person cannot even go in. So they are enveloped, they are kind of in their own circle of sense gratification, which does not even allow them to get the mercy of the sadhus. But in a small hut, in a small village, in a small place, the people don't even have door. What to speak of locking the door? So the sadhus, easily go, and out of humility, out of whatever they have, they'll offer some water, some straw mat, some khichdi, and they'll say, "Oh sadhu, oh Mahatma, please bless us." So if we are not grateful, then we are great fools. So the lesson here is to be humble and to not forget our real position, that we are servants of the Supreme Lord. We are not the enjoyer. The moment I think I have this enjoying mentality, whether to enjoy my home or the opposite sex or the beauty or any material possession, then I'm forgetting that Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Krishna is the supreme Bhokta. Krishna is the supreme proprietor, the supreme master. And my position is Gopir Bharatur Padakamalayur Das 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 Anudas. My eternal position where I can be truly happy is not as the enjoyer or the master, but as a servant. How do we kind of remember that? Sadhu's association. And we see that also in this story, that it was only by the blessings of Sri Narad Muni. And there are so many verses in this chapter which talk about the importance of Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Koi, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. ब्रह्मांड ब्रह्मीते कोनो भाग्यवान जीवा Guru Krishna Prasad Pai Bhakti Lata Bija. So we can remember our true position by the association of devotees. Because the association of devotees, even though it may be curse, even though they may speak like an apparent curse, like how Narad Muni did, become a tree, because you're behaving like a tree, not even daring to, not even bothering to cover your body, puffed up with pride, puffed up with wealth, puffed up with intoxication in opposite sex, you deserve the body of a tree. It is certainly apparent on an external level a curse, but the words of the sadhu are always for the benefit of others. So it was an apparent curse, but look at the benediction there. Those trees were watching the pastimes of the Supreme Lord in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj. So many pastimes, Krishna playing with friends and stealing butter and and grazing cows and with his parents, and so many pastimes. What could be a better blessing than to be a tree in Vrindavan, in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, witnessing all these pastimes? So even Kunti Maharani also says that material opulence is often an obstacle. Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribhi Edamana Madapaman Neva Avaharti Abhidhatum Vaitwam Akinchana Gocharam. That we cannot call out with feeling if one has a lot of wealth, family attachments, pride, and beauty, knowledge, etc. One thing, I have everything. I have good family, I have good wealth, I have a good job, I have a good home, I have good everything. What's the need to surrender? And therefore, one cannot call out with great feeling. And nowadays, we see practically every home is fighting over these things, the wealth. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was sharing that his mother used to tell him that toys, don't give toys to my children. Whenever, friends would come or relatives would come, she would say, don't give toys to my children. Because toys are like poison. The kids will fight over the toys, and they will just keep fighting. It's an interesting lesson, but and then we say, why do you fight over this? This is just a toy. Why do you fight over this? Just give it to your elder brother, or give it to your younger brother or younger sister, or your friend or neighbor. The adults would say like this, right? Why it's a silly toy, just like a piece of plastic, or a piece of some, whatever soft toy, or plastic toy, whatever it is, maybe 10, 20, $30, whatever. It's not a very big deal. Why just fight? The adults would think like that. But the point is that the adults are also fighting over toys. Their toys are a little bigger in size. The kids play with the Lego homes. The adults play with brick and mortar homes or real estate, cars, property, factory, buildings. Practically every home, one is fighting. The brothers are taking each other to the courts. They're fighting. They're killing each other. Why? Because of blind intoxication to wealth, pride. I am better. I deserve more. So when one thinks one deserves more, one is not grateful. One becomes grateful. So all these divine qualities go together and demonic qualities go together. Humility. We have to develop humility. That I don't deserve anything. Whatever Krishna has given is totally his causeless mercy. I don't deserve that. Look at my merciful Lord. Millions of people don't even have, hands and legs to walk. Millions of people don't have the ability to speak, or they don't know if they will eat the food tonight. Krishna has given me so much. So one who is humble and grateful can be situated in one's true position as a servant, and always remembering Krishna, never forgetting Krishna. This is the sum and substance of all our scriptures. So to bring this quick story of these Nalkuvera and Manigriva, this is the big demon inside the life of a sadhaka, and it can also come in spiritual life, as I shared that that one may think I'm a better devotee, or I do more tapasya. Oh, I get up at 4 a.m. and chant, and look at the other devotee, he gets up at 7 a.m. and chant, so I'm better. Or I eat only rice and dal, right? I don't eat opulent pakoras and jalebis and samosas. Look at that devotee. He is a fallen soul. He's always eating samosas and gulab jamuns. So pride can come even in spiritual matters if one is not careful. Or I just drink milk, or I dress the deities better, or I give Bhagavatam class better, or I play Mridanga better, or I am better in any aspect, any devotional service. That's also pride. And pride comes before the fall. So you have to always be very, very careful. Recently, I was hearing a class by Gauranga Prabhu, and who was quoting Radhanath Swami Maharaj, his Guru Maharaj. So first time Gauranga Prabhu gave class, and of course, we all know Gauranga Prabhu is a very elevated soul. Uh, and he was called somewhere for the Bhagavatam class, etc. And he, of course, he did a fantastic, sessions or series of Bhagavatam classes, and it was really amazing. Everyone was glorifying, wonderful, what amazing, verses you shared, what katha and what stories and pastimes, and it was nectar and pure nectar. And the news also reached his Guru Maharaj, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and then Maharaj told him that if you think by giving the Bhagavatam classes, which people are glorifying you, you are better than an ordinary, woman, just, changing the diapers of ordinary devotee woman, just changing the, taking care of the baby and taking care of her own home. If you think you are better than her, a simple Mataji, then your classes are of no use. And then that's where it becomes the seed of fall down. Because one thinks I'm better in any aspect and any person. Yudhishthira Maharaj never thought himself to be better than anyone in any aspect. That's because seeing always good in others. If we have that vision, we will see the good in others. But if you're looking for faults, there will be millions and millions to see. Why? Because I am honeycombed with faults, therefore I'll see those in others. So, just to sum up here, Nalkuvera and Manigriva represents the pride stemming from the intoxication with wealth, or illicit sex, or any intoxication, gambling, or these wine. These days there's like wines of thousands and thousands of dollars. So people just spend like anything, which leads to fall down. We lose our good qualities. We lose the sense of right and wrong. We lose the sense of our speech. We may become shameless, brutal towards others, not empathizing others, thinking ourselves to be better, and all these things will lead to fall down. The solution is Trinadapi Sunichena Tarori Vasaishna Amari Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. In a humble state, chant the holy names of Lord Krishna, always taking good association of good sadhus, always reading Bhagavatam, trying to be humble and grateful, and always looking for good in others and trying to see the bad in our own self. In that way, we can be saved from this pride, the demon of pride. So I'll just pause here And maybe you can take 1 or 2 reflections, and then Manjulali can begin.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Mataji also, Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam.
Krishna.
So Prabhuji, you are talking about the pride in devotion. Like common people like me who started doing chanting and those things. So pride may come as you're telling that, oh, I wake up 5 o'clock, do chanting, other people not doing. So it automatically comes whether you express or not. And artificially, I don't think that I can take this pride away until I keep chanting and having association with the devotees and reading Bhagavatam. So can you artificially take your pride or all our bad qualities?
Thank you, Prabhuji, for being so honest. And this is absolutely true that all of us have these, or all of us will have to go through these stages of bhakti. The more we try to make spiritual progress, the test, we have to pass the test. So we all will have to go through these stages. So the first step is to understand that yes, there is a problem, and to recognize it, that I am not a perfect person. I'm not a perfect devotee. I have challenges which I need to work. And when we have those challenges, which we all have, we all need to just introspect and see somewhere, someone may have more of X challenge, someone may have more of Y challenge, someone may be more attached to money, someone may be more attached to opposite sex, someone may be more attached to something. But we all have these in some variegated thing. So that should help us. We cannot artificially kind of, show. But to Krishna, we can call out with humility, Krishna, look at my fallen situation. I think I am better devotee just because I am getting up early and chanting. Please help me. Please help me uproot this. I cannot do on my own. As you said, we cannot artificially just show, of course, to the public, we'll say, no, no, Prabhu, I'm your das, I'm the servant of your servant. But to Krishna, we can be, or to our Guru, the Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru, our mentor, we can be honest. We can be very, very open and share these and intensely pray, Krishna, look at my fallen situation. Look at me. I think I'm a better devotee than others just because I do this thing. I get up early, or I read Bhagavatam daily, so I think I'm better. Or I give a Bhagavatam class, or anything, or I cook nice bhoga for the Lord, therefore I think I'm better. So this should only help us, as well as Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj says, our weaknesses or our challenges should be like a springboard, like we kind of springboard, you press down and then you move further up. So that will help us to be more prayerful in our japa, in our services, that this devotee does not know how fallen I am. I'm giving a nice class, people are glorifying me, but I know my weaknesses. Krishna, you only help me out. So in this way, we genuinely try to pray. Pray to the Lord, to the Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, please help me. Prabhupada, please help me. And then look at the examples also. Then we should always, one other thing which we should see, let's say we are doing one thing better, but we know we are not doing something better. So we should see, oh, this person may not be getting up early, but look at the sincerity he has in this service. That will make us humble. For example, like let's say I may think, oh, I give nice classes. Oh, ex-devotee is not giving nice classes, out of my false pride. But I should think, oh, he does so nice deity worship. Oh, he plays mridanga so nicely. So when we see good in others and genuinely pray to Krishna so that I can overcome my weaknesses as well. But it's a very genuine question, and thank you so much for your genuine question. And if we sincerely try, Krishna will help us out. Right? That's all we are trying, right?
Yeah, Puji, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Want to add something to it? Okay, then we can start the Nandini Mataji is asking if you want to share your perspective also for this question.
We'll discuss at the end.
Okay, we'll discuss at the end. Okay. Okay, then let's start.
What's explained?
Okay. Gurave Gopachandra.
Adhikaya Tidnalai Krishna Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Thank you so much for joining. We'll be beginning with today's demon is BakaSura, but we'll discuss this verse first. This is a very enlightening verse. Hantasmin janmani bhavad mamam drishtum iharhati avipakva kashayanam dudarshoham kuyoginam. Translation. Oh,
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O Narada, the Lord spoke, I regret that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me anymore. Those who are incomplete in service and who are not completely free from all material taints can hardly see me.
so this is the verse from the first canto of Bhagavatam, and here Narad Muni was, after losing his mother, he was practicing meditation, that was mantra chanting that was prescribed by the Bhakti Vedantas that he served when his mother was present. And he was meditating and he got the glimpse of the Supreme Lord, and the Lord disappeared from his vision very suddenly. He appeared very quickly and then he disappeared. So then the Lord spoke this verse to Narad Muni. He said that you won't be able to see me in this lifetime anymore. Why? Because his service is incomplete or avipakwa. It's not mature till now, and therefore he has to wait. And he is not also completely free from all material taints or the unwanted vices from his heart. So until unless one is pure in the existence, one cannot have the association of the Supreme Lord. This is what this verse is telling us. And it's so important because sometimes when you come to the spiritual life, we think that we are good, we'll be going back to Godhead, and we'll be safe, our place is secure. Yes, it is. But until unless you have removed all the anarthas from our heart, just as we see Narad Muni, he was an exalted personality. He was so much concentrating on the meditation that we do not have concentration of that level in our chanting, which is the easiest process. But still, the Lord said that he's incomplete. His service is not mature as of now. It's avipakva. And he's not free from the material desires. So he has to wait. So similarly, we have to be very serious that we cannot see the Lord until unless we are pure, we have the desire to enjoy this material world in any form. It may be with the positions, prestige, even in the spiritual life, or we're not chanting sincerely trying our best to chant sincerely at least, and we're not honest and we're not selfless in our services, we cannot think of going back to Godhead just by seeing this verse. So devotional service is purifying, definitely purified. It's like standing in the shower, but we have to work hard. And we'll discuss this in the next session about this particular topic a little bit in the beginning, of what it means to put an endeavor, the importance of putting an endeavor. Prabhupada is written a little note on that, and we will discuss it later. But for now, this verse is aligning us to the goal, because when we started off this very big topic, we had a discussion on the anartha nivritti. And so that was to align for the future sessions, like all the demons who would be coming up and Krishna would be killing them. So we have to understand that we have to just align ourselves again and again to this goal. What is our goal? Its goal is pure devotional service, and nothing in Krishna consciousness should be taken cheaply or for granted. So we have to work hard, and this is just to align us that even Narad Muni has to hear from the Supreme Lord that he has to wait. So similarly, we may have to also be, in that position where the Lord will say you have to wait because you're not purified. So here we see that all the demons are being lined up in front of Krishna in the pastimes, in different pastimes, and it is only because they want to be liberated. Not really because of pure devotional service, but because they were in a miserable situation put by some curse by the sages. As we saw with Shaktasura, he was cursed, and Vatsasura was cursed. And here we'll hear that even Bakasura was cursed in his past life, and therefore he got this particular form of Baka. So here they're being lined up, but only to be liberated from the miserable conditions. Similarly, we also have to have this fear of the material world and the fallacies of the material world, so that uh, we take the process very seriously. And the sages who are cursing, as we were reading with Yamala Arjuna, that the curses of the sages are like blessings in disguise. They're only to purify the living entity. They're not just humbling them down. They're not just causing some misery, but ultimately it's, we taste the sweetness of the Supreme Lord. So that is what the blessings of the sages are doing. So yeah, Bakasur, who is actually called Utkal in his past life, he was the son of Hayagriva. He became so powerful by his efforts and endeavors that he gained domain even over the heavenly planets. What to speak of Earth? He had conquered Earth, heaven, everything, and he was ruling for hundreds of years. The hundreds of heavenly years means many, 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 many years according to the earthly calculations. So he was enjoying so many opulences, so many pleasures, and one fine day he came at Ganga Sagar. Ganga Sagar is the place where Ganga meets the ocean in Bay of Bengal in the eastern part of India. So he came at Ganga Sagar, and there was the ashram of Jajari Muni over there. So ashram is as we know, is a very sacred place where the people are chanting, focusing on the higher goal of life, higher purpose of life. And here this Utkal comes, and Jajari Muni is very powerful. He was very powerful because he performed austerities for 60,000 years, 60,000 long years. And when Utkal came at the banks of the river there, he started fishing. He was fishing and he was eating the fish right at that spot. And Jajari Muni got very disgusted. He chastised that, you should stop all this, because this is not the place to do fishing and then eat it right there. It was just abominable. He was spoiling the sanctity of the ashram by doing that. So this Utkal was not disturbed by those chastisements. He continued his business of fishing. And then, because he was blinded by his power, he was ruling over the heaven. It's a big thing. Ruling over the entire material creation, and he thought that he's invincible. He's so powerful that nobody can do anything to him. So he was not disturbed by the chastisement of the sage. So then the sage cursed, "Hey, may you become a crane immediately, so that this you won't even need a fishing rod to fish. You can continue fishing just like that." So the curse took effect immediately because Jajari Muni was so powerful. And that time he realized that, oh my God, there's someone more powerful than me. What has happened to me? I have this huge body of crane. And his pride crushed immediately. And he started asking forgiveness. He was trying to please the sage. He said so many different things. He said, I'm so sorry, you don't consider me your enemy, and you curse me just for my own purification. But please relieve me of this curse. I don't want to be, you must be having some solution to this curse also. Now you curse me, you give the solution also. And the sages, they just by their blessings, they can give the position of Brahma, Indra, Chandra, etc. So what to speak of, the favor of the Supreme Lord. So he was, in mild way, he was asking about the favor of the Supreme Lord. Again, it was not because he wanted pure devotional service, but he was desiring freedom from his difficult situation. So then the sage was pacified and he said, okay, in Vaivasvata Manvantra, at the end of Dwapar Yuga, in the Vraj Mandal Bhumi, in Bharat Varsha, you'll be liberated by the Supreme Lord. But that liberation would be impersonal liberation. So all the demons more or less achieved impersonal liberation because they were not pure devotees of the Lord. So then came the BakaSura, the brother of Putana. And shortly after killing Vatsasura, now we see that Shaktasura was killed, Trinavarta, Shaktasura, Putana, Trinavarta, and Yamala Arjuna were all delivered in Gokul. And then we had come to Vrindavan forest, where the first demon killed was Vatsasura. And then now we have BakaSura. It was shortly after Vatsasura was killed in the forest of Bhadravan. Now the boys wandered with their calves, as we had read that now they have become calf-fed boys. So they wandered in the forest of Khadirvan. The Khadirvan is the seventh of the principal 12 forests, and it is said in Adi Varapuran that whoever visits this forest will ascend to the Lord's abode. So this is the Mahatmya of this particular forest. And even today, actually, a lot of big cranes are seen in that area of Kadirvan. So, just reminding of Krishna's pastime. So we just open 10, 46, 10, 11, 14. So BakaSura the boys were, in the forest, and we see the different cranes there. So the pastime begins 10 from this particular verse, 10, 11, 46 translation. One day, all the boys, including Krishna and Balram, each boy taking his own group of cows, brought the calves to the reservoir of water, desiring to allow them to drink. After the animals drank water, the boys drank water there also. So here boys are coming to the reservoir of water, and then next what happens is, right by the reservoir, the boys saw a gigantic body resembling a mountain peak broken and struck down by a thunderbolt. They were afraid even to see such a huge living being. So BakaSura was so humongous. It appeared like a mountain, and the boys got so scared that what is this huge fellow doing here? We never saw such a mountain in Rajabhumi before. So then next, the great bodied demon was named BakaSura. He had assumed the body of a duck with a very sharp beak. Having come there, he immediately swallowed Krishna. So now you see, Shukdev Goswami is telling this story in a little fast-paced manner because he has less time. He has to narrate so many more pastimes after this to Parikshit Maharaj, and the time is running. So he covered very quickly. But when we see the pastime in detail in different scriptures that have been translated by different disciples and senior Vaishnavas, we see that actually when the BakaSura was found at the reservoir of water, the BakaSura came, the demigods started attacking BakaSura, to protect Krishna. So the first demigod who came was Indra at the site, and he struck the BakaSura with a thunderbolt. So the BakaSura was knocked down, but he again stood up. And so Indra was like, okay, I'm done. Then Brahma came. And Brahma was like, he struck with the Brahmastra, the powerful weapon of Lord Brahma. It can bring destruction. It's like nuclear weapon of the demigods. So he struck with the Brahmastra. And BakaSura was unconscious for 48 minutes, which is called 2 ghatikas. So he was unconscious for 48 minutes, and then he again got up. And then Brahma again, like, okay, now Shiva came. Shiva, with Trishul, he started charging at BakaSura, and he cut off one of the wings. The BakaSura was not disturbed. He again was coming along, charging at Krishna. Then Vayu came. Vayu started blowing the winds, and BakaSura blew out, flew away with the wind for a few miles, and then again came back. So then Yamaraj came. Yamaraj came with Yamadanda, and he struck the BakaSura, but the danda broke. Nothing happened to BakaSura. Then Surya charged with 100 sharp arrows. Nothing happened to that fellow. Then Kuvera came with sword. He cut off another wing. The first wing was cut off by Lord Shiva. Now Kuvera cut off the another wing. Still, BakaSura was undisturbed. He again came at the scene. Then different demigods came. They challenged him with different ice weapons. And BakaSura was unconscious. He fainted, but he again came back. Then came Agni Dev. He burnt all the feathers of BakaSura with his power of fire. Nothing happened. Then Bhadrakali came. She brought a club. And then she struck the head of BakaSura with the club, and BakaSura went into coma. But he again woke up after some time, shook his head, and then he stood up. He roared like a cloud. He announced that I'm alive still. And then came Kartikeya, the general of the demigods, the great general of demigods. And he saw his father and mother attacking, and they had failed attempts. So he thought, let me attack. Then he brought his Shakti weapon, the spear, and then he attacked BakaSura and cut off one of his feet. But still, BakaSura was nothing happened to BakaSura. He was still very determined in his intention. So now BakaSura became so agitated and frustrated by these repeated attacks that he started attacking the demigods. And demigods ran away. Like this fellow is nothing is happening. We are throwing away. We are charging with our powerful weapons, but still this fellow is so powerful. They ran away from the scene and they hid themselves behind their different strategic positions, and they started blessing Krishna. Krishna, you only take care of this. We are done. We have tried our best. Now we are done. You try. So the BakaSura, without delaying a moment, he swallowed Krishna. And then Balaram and cowherd boys, they fainted out of love, intense love and intense separation from Krishna. Just as the body falls limp when the soul has left the body is lifeless. Similarly, the boys became lifeless because the pran of their lives, Krishna, has been swallowed by BakaSura. They thought, oh my God, what's going to happen now? So then, when Baka swallowed this Krishna, this little baby Krishna, then we see that Krishna is a very sweet personality, very, very sweet personality. We have a beautiful bhajan, Madhuram Hasitam, describing different features of Krishna as being very, very sweet, Madhurashtakam. So, but to this BakaSura, when he swallowed the Lord, it became burning. It was burning. It became like fire. Krishna became like fire within the mouth of BakaSura. Now just imagine when we have popped very hot pickles in our mouth, then what do? We want to just throw it out, spit it out, because there's so many, it's so hot, it's intolerable. Similarly, Krishna became very, very difficult for BakaSura to tolerate. And it was because of the glowing effulgence of the Lord. So then immediately BakaSura spat Krishna out of his mouth. But he knew that Krishna is alive, and so if he would spat out, Krishna would try to run away. So he was very sharp. He had already planned that as soon as I will spit Krishna out, I will pinch it with my beaks and then crush Krishna to death. So he was determined to do that. So he was trying to pinch Krishna by its beak. So Acharyas explain that holy name is also very sweet, but when we take it, it's very bitter because we're not able to chant constantly. We're not able to focus on chanting because of our conditionings, because of our anarthas. We are not able to taste the sweetness of the holy name. So Prabhupada writes in the purport of this particular verse where BakaSura spits out Krishna. He writes that Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam statheva bhajamiham. BakaSura wanted to kill Krishna. His intention was to kill Krishna. Therefore, BakaSura tasted bitterness and vomited Krishna. But, when the devotee is approaching the Lord with a lot of love, then Krishna reciprocates accordingly. When Krishna is accepted as an enemy, he becomes the most intolerable object for the non-devotee, who cannot tolerate Krishna within or without. Here, this is shown by the example of BakaSura. Although Krishna is always as soft as a lotus, within the throat of Bakasura, he created a burning sensation of being hotter than fire. This is very sweet, short past purport by Srila Prabhupada. So understanding that why Krishna is behaving in such a way. So now we see here, usually when we have seen, if you have ever seen crane, so the example is given for concentration. They have great concentration, the cranes, which is a good example to be taken, good lesson to be taken from them. That they're very concentrated, they're very focused. So understanding this aspect, what Bakasura represents is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives a very beautiful analogy. He says when we saw the Bakasura first time, he appeared like a big mountain. So and we see the cranes are standing at one place in the water and they wait for the right fish to come and then they take it as soon as the fish appears. So similarly, it appears like a yogi meditating in a particular posture, and so it appears like saintly person meditating on something higher. He's in samadhi, but he's actually thinking of the fish. So it represents a hypocritic mentality, duplicity, cheating is what is Bakasura. Just as we see yogis with unkempt hair, their hair are matted, unclean, they don't care for it, they don't groom it, they groom themselves. So similarly, Bakasura had the body of with ashen feathers, appearing like the matted hair of a yogi, making an appearance of advancement, but we are not advanced yet. So duplicitous behavior. And we see beak is two parts, so it means two-faced, means duplicitous. So that's how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur compares to the anarthas that Bakasura represents. So it means cheating, being duplicitous, hypocritic, bad mouthing. These are all represented by Bakasura. So the first aspect that we'll discuss is cheating religion. First aspect is cheating religion of or Ketav Dharma. That Bakasura represents. So this is the verse which is the second verse of the Bhagavatam in the very beginning. Dharma projita ketavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavamattavastu shivadam tapatrayo mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kim va paririshvara Satyoritya Prutyate Trakritivi Shushrushubistakshanat. Sampada Mataji, would you like to lead the translation?
Yes, Mataji, thank you. Translation: completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Thank you, Mataji. Back to you.
Thank you so much. So this verse is telling about Ketav Dharma, cheating religion. And we'll discuss different aspects of cheating religion, but that's what it is saying, that Bhagavatam is what it does is it kicks out the cheating religion. And so we have to read Bhagavatam, we have to meditate on Bhagavatam to be able to kick out all these anarthas from our heart. So Keta Dharma is distinct or characterized by when we say the Lord is order supplier. When we go to the Lord asking something, and then we want something in return, and then we do the exchange business. So when we say that it's order supplier thing, and that is Keta Dharma. The second is aspiration for liberation. You're aspiring for liberation. Moksha is also um, Keta Dharma. Then sometimes we pretend as religionists, but we are not practicing any principles of devotional service or spiritual life. That is also considered cheating religion. And when we have other desires like to accumulate wealth or prestige in the name of religion, is also Ketav Dharma. So Jiva Goswami defines Ketav Dharma as when we practice devotional service, if we have even one desire which is separate from pleasing Krishna, is Ketav Dharma. And so most of us would fall in this category because we may have different desires in our heart. So this is the level of pure devotional service where there is nothing but the idea to please Krishna. So then the next aspect, the fifth aspect of Keta Dharma is that when we do not understand our qualification and we accept some guru, bogus guru, and then we start engaging in the process of worship, which is actually meant for elevated advanced devotees. That is also Keta Dharma. So in this case, both teacher is also cheating, and the students also cheating himself and being cheated by the teacher. So here we see that sometimes we take if the guide or the mentor or the spiritual instructor is not very mature, then asking the new bhaktas to take premature initiation, or prematurely engaging in the deity worship, or prematurely we are in the limelight to do any service when we do not have any knowledge of the standards of the prerequisites for doing those services, then that is we're cheating others. We are presenting ourselves as very advanced, but we are not. So many times we do this, that we decide what is our qualification. That I'm qualified to take initiation. I'm qualified to do this. I'm qualified to do deity worship. I'm qualified to sing kirtans. I'm qualified to take classes. We decide our own qualification, but we forget that ultimately it's decided by the Supreme Lord and the spiritual authority if we are qualified or not qualified within the spiritual life to be able to do that service. We have heard this beautiful story of the cobbler and the Brahmana. The Brahmana thought that he's qualified to enter the kingdom of God. And the cobbler, and they both asked Nard Muni to inquire from Lord Vishnu what is their future, what will happen to them. And the Brahmana was told that he will have to wait for many lifetimes. And the cobbler was told next time, after this lifetime, you will be back to Godhead. So this is very contrasting. The Brahmana thought, I'm qualified to be able to go to Godhead because of his so-called piety or so-called position that he has, or being a Brahmana. But he was not qualified in the eyes of the Supreme Lord. He had pride. He had anarthas within his heart. So similarly, the cobbler was humble in contrast, the cobbler was very humble. And so he was eligible to enter the Supreme Lord's kingdom. He knew the glories of the Supreme Lord. So we should not decide if I'm qualified or not qualified. It should be left to the Supreme Lord, and should be left to the spiritual authority and the guide if we are qualified for something or not. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, he was not at all in the mood to take sannyas. He was not at all, he never thought himself qualified to take sannyas. He never thought himself to be qualified to accept disciples. But he was told by the authority, he was told by the GVC, he was told by the superior people. And then he took that service. And now we see that even till today, he's serving in that capacity, that I'm doing this because I've been asked to do this. It's not my personal desire, but because my superiors, who are my god brothers, have asked me to do this, I will do this. So that is the amount of humility we should have. And now we see Maharaj is loved by everyone within the entire society and beyond, the spiritual society also, because of that humility, genuine humility that he has. So we have to understand this, that we should always feel that I'm not qualified, even if we are receiving our initiation by the mercy of the Supreme, by the spiritual master. We should always think I'm not qualified. to be able to receive this. And then we will be grateful, and then we'll reciprocate and be truthful to the parampara. It's very natural. Similarly, we see in contrast, when the ISKCON movement started, Prabhupada gave his first initiation to the disciples. They were still breaking the regulative. They didn't know what is four regulative principle. They were still doing everything, and they were just given initiation. Now one may say, why is that? But that was the need of the society at that time. Prabhupada had to propagate somehow. So he had to start somewhere. Plus, when he gave initiation, he made their qualification. He made them qualified to be able to receive that spiritual potency from the parampara. So, but that discretion is left to a pure, exalted devotee like Srila Prabhupada, who is an acharya who can establish the siddhantas for the present day, age, and circumstances. It's not to be exploited by everyone. Just because somebody Prabhupada gave that time, that doesn't mean that we do the same thing now also. We have to follow certain standards and structure and the hierarchy, so that the nobody can cheat in between. Some people are sincere, some people are not sincere, some people are conditioned by their anarthas. So for everyone, if there's uniform platform to go or uniform to see path to follow, then there'll be stability in the society. Otherwise, there'll be destruction in the society. So one may say that like we have to be qualified to be going at the altar and worshipping the deities. You have to be qualified to cook for Sunday feast. Some temples have that. At least the devotee should be initiated to cook Sunday feast, to help in the kitchen. So there are certain standards or certain protocols to be followed. Now one may say, why this complexity? But it is to maintain our system, maintain the standards of spiritual life. Similarly, some bhakti vikshas have standard. At least one should be chanting 2 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra for a month, and then they should be cooking for the programs, etc. It's because then we don't take things cheaply. We pay for it. When we pay something, we pay our sincerity. Then we know this works, and then the potency of the parampara also comes. Otherwise, everyone will come, start exploiting the rules, regulations. What is the need? Everyone is equal. Yes, everyone is equal. Everyone is definitely equal at the spirit level. Everyone is spiritual souls, spirit souls. So they have to be respected and seen in that way. And one may say, then what is the qualification to practice Krishna consciousness? Who is qualified? Everyone is qualified. But then we have to be really, qualify ourselves also. Everyone is qualified, but they have to become qualified. Just as everyone can take up the test for medical school, but then they have to prepare, they have to write, they have to pass. Not everyone can become. Yes, everyone can write the test, but not that everyone can become a doctor. So similarly, we have to understand that everyone is qualified, everyone has birthright to practice Krishna consciousness, but they have to pay something to become qualified. Otherwise, there'll be complete destruction in the society, because everyone will be whimsical. Everyone would be whimsical in their approach towards Krishna consciousness. Then if this person will do that, this person will do that, there'll be no law and order. Now we see different ISKCONs, everyone has almost similar standards of deity worship. Details may vary, some details may vary here and there, but everyone has similar standards. There's uniformity. You go from one temple to the other temple, we see the same standards being followed, which is what we want as a society. Everyone should be at the same page. But sometimes what may happen is, while establishing dharma, when we are establishing dharma, there can be no compromise. The core principles should remain the same. Okay, one has to chant 16 rounds for getting initiated, one has to do this. The checklist has to be there. But in the name of establishing Siddhanta, we cannot discourage people from practicing path of purification. Just as Bhagavatam, as we read this verse from 112, is saying that this Bhagavatam is enough to kick out all the cheating religion, cheating propensities, and anarthas from one's heart. But that doesn't mean that we don't establish siddhantas at all. So balance is very difficult, and it's a very delicate balance between the two things. Sometimes to take the easy way out, we are on the either way of the of the pendulum. Sometimes someone is very strict. No, this has to be followed. Otherwise, this person cannot practice, cannot come, etc., etc. So many rules and regulations. The other side is when we are just, do whatever you want, doesn't matter. Everyone is qualified. That is one side. Everything is good. You do what is good. Whatever you feel best. This person will do whatever he feels best. This way, there is no system. So balance is disrupted. The siddhantas are not being established, and the purification will also not happen then. So enlightenment should be accompanied with encouragement. So when we are trying to instruct someone about the siddhantas, they should also be encouraged on this path of bhakti, that they can practice it, appropriately encouraged. But if we give just encouragement and no enlightenment, then they'll be whimsical. And if we are just, trying to give instructions, if there's no encouragement, then also it's very destructive for one's spiritual life. So as we were discussing, just a little bit sum up, that we discussed this immaturity aspect with BakaSura, that when one is immature, then that is called BakaSura mentality. So similarly, as we were discussing about creating we think that we are qualified. So that is also arising from immaturity. We think, I've spent so many years in Krishna consciousness. I've spent 3 years, 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, whatever, and I'm qualified now. That is not really qualification. Just spending number of years, is not, qualification. Qualification comes by qualities, what we're exhibiting, what the understanding is. That makes us qualified. So when we start thinking like that, we actually lose innocence. Now, what is innocence? Innocence is when we are concerned with chanting Hare Krishna sincerely, and we are ready to follow the spiritual authority, whatever they say. When we are ready to do anything, whatever is being told by our authority, then that is innocence. But then in immaturity, we think that we can become better than our authority, we can become better than our Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru, etc. And we think we are advanced, just as BakaSura was acting. He appeared like yogi, but he was not a yogi. So he appeared advanced, but no advancement. So that's how we start thinking. So far we read about cheating religion is when we are, dealing with the Lord as order supplier, then we have aspiration for liberation or aspiration for wealth and prestige, or we are pretending ourselves to be advanced, but we are not. Or the last that we were discussing was that we think that we are qualified and we approach a bogus guru, start worshipping, etc., etc., and then that is cheating. Now, the next aspect is also very important. Those who see and respect such proud people because they are showing, certain external symptoms of being advanced, they also cannot attain love for Krishna. So even the cheated are included in this category. So we should be very, very careful. Just because anyone would say I'm God, we don't accept. Prabhupada is writing that we accept Lord Ram as the Supreme Lord because he made this wonderful bridge, Ram Setu, from India to Sri Lanka. And it was floating, it was supernatural. So we accept, because when the Lord is showing such symptoms, supernatural things, then we accept the Supreme Lord as a Supreme Lord, as a person, a Supreme Lord. And we accept Krishna as a Supreme Lord because he lifted Govardhan hill on the very little finger when he was 7 years of age and for 7 nights. So that is it cannot be achieved by any common man. So we accept that these are Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have to be very careful, and we have to have that discrimination of who is really advanced and who is not. And that comes with regular reading, associating with pure Vaishnavas, then we get that understanding. Otherwise, we'll be also included in the cheated, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying the love of Krishna will not fructify in that state. So it's just not cheating someone, but it's also the fact that one should also not be cheated by anything. And in that, the other aspect is that we start disrespecting person who is actually advanced but is not showing the symptoms of advancement. External symptoms are not there, and it comes because we are in the personality cult. We see, oh, this devotee gives such a nice class, speaks so nicely, looks so good, this person must be advanced, practicing Krishna, this person must be advanced. Somebody may not be that refined in their attitude or in their conduct, but if they're speaking the truth, that person has to be respected. We also see that sometimes, this example, Arjuna. Now, Arjuna was killing at the battlefield. And may think he's not a devotee. How can he be a devotee? He's killing, someone. But that is the ultimate dharma. That is what Bhagavatam is trying to teach. What is the ultimate dharma? Sam Siddhe Haritoshna, satisfying the Supreme Lord. Krishna asked Arjuna to fight, so he's fighting. So that the supreme religion he's following. So it appeared sinful. He's killing. He's involved in the act of killing. But why is he doing? Because Krishna asked him to do it. Similarly, we see sometimes some devotees using laptops, using cars. Then we may think, oh, these are not advanced, these are not sadhus, they are using so many opulences. Just as Galadhar Pandit thought that Punjik Vidyanadi may not be advanced because he has so much opulence. So that is also, we use our material judgments to judge someone. But as long as someone is mature in Krishna consciousness, we should respect that person, even though, certain things may not be refined, which is fine. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying one must tolerate all those things. This is the eternal duty of Vaishnavas. As long as one is practicing Krishna consciousness sincerely and with lot of faith, and that person has to be respected, and other things have to be tolerated. So once Srila Prabhupada was lecturing in Delhi, and somebody started criticizing Krishna in that. Prabhupada got very mad at that person. He's like, oh, how can someone say like that? Now, we may not get very angry when someone may be blaspheming Krishna because we don't have love for Krishna. We see sometimes someone may insult our parents, insult our family members, then we immediately become angry with it. How dare you say that? But when devotees are being blasphemed and Krishna is being blasphemed, we may not get angry, because we don't have attachment. We don't have the understanding, full-blown Krishna consciousness in our heart. But here Prabhupada got angry, but it was for a higher cause. For other persons may see, sadhus are supposed to be equipoised. They're not supposed to get angry. Why is Prabhupada getting angry here? But it is for a higher purpose. So sometimes things may appear sinful or contradictory to religious principles, but we have to understand it in a very broader perspective. Similarly, when we have developed that love for Krishna, then naturally we will also feel that how can someone blaspheme Krishna? For Prabhupada, Krishna and Radha and Krishna are like his parents. Prabhupada is their eternal associate. So how can someone insult such a pure personality? So that is also condemned, that we should not disrespect someone who is actually advanced, but may not look very refined. That is also has to be taken care of. So next is we'll discuss is duplicity, cheating, cunning, hypocrisy, and bad mouthing. That is the second aspect of BakaSura, besides cheating religion. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 19, text 159, Lord Chaitanya says to Rupa Goswami, Nishidachara kutinati jiva himsana labha puja pratishtha diyata upshakha gana. That means, yat upshakha gana means these are the weeds growing. These are not required, these weeds are growing. What are these weeds? Nishidachara, one who is trying for perfection in life, should not have kutinati, that means duplicity. One should not do jiva himsa, that means should not kill any other living entity's soul for personal gratification, like killing animals, killing any other living human being, unnecessarily cutting out plants, etc. We should not disturb the other jivas. Then labh, puja, pratishtha, that means name, fame, adoration, greed. These are all weeds that grow in the process of devotional service. Just as we were discussing in the very beginning, that we get so much honor, we get so much respect that we can get carried away by that. And we may start doing things just for all these things to gratify our subtle, false ego. We may start behaving in a certain way. We're not advanced, we behave advanced because people will respect us. So those are the things we have to take care of. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, Saralta, that means simplicity, is the first qualification of a Vaishnava, whereas duplicity or cunning behavior is a great offense against the principles of devotional service. So this is one of the very important weed that we have to take out, the duplicitous nature. We have to be very simple. Radhanath Maharaj very simply puts it. Simplicity means no duplicity. No duplicity means simplicity. That means that we are not trying to be, something, we are presenting ourselves something else, but we are something else. That should not be our attitude. So, as one advances in Krishna consciousness, one must gradually become attached, more and more attached to Krishna, and the taste of material world should go. But if that is not happening, and we still proclaim that we are advanced, then we are cheating. Then no one will be happy with such behavior. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says. And Prabhupada says that duplicity will not even satisfy one's mind. There is a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, austerities of mind. Mana prasada samyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhiretyat tapomana samuchyate. So what are the austerities of mind? Austerities of mind is satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, purity. These are all austerities of mind that one should practice. Simplicity is one of them. And purification of one's heart, satisfaction, gravity. We should be grave, we should be serious, sincere, and mature in our Krishna consciousness. So these are the austerities of mind that one should cultivate. And even Shukdev Goswami is saying, he's praying that Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be understood by people who are full of pretensions. Those who are free of pretensions can only understand the Supreme Lord. And that Supreme Lord will then be pleased. So pleasing the Lord is honesty. We need great amount of honesty. We should understand that if we are not advanced or mature, then we should be honest. You just take the example of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was advanced. He had prostitutes sitting right outside his home for 3 days, 3 nights. But he was not disturbed. He didn't get disturbed that he didn't get agitated in his mind that he wants to enjoy the prostitute. But now, if a very beautiful woman comes in front of us, or anything which can agitate our mind and senses comes in front of us, will we remain sober? Will we think that we can deliver this person, just as Haridas Thakur did? If we can, then that's very good. But if we cannot, then it's better not to handle that thing in our vicinity. We should just transfer it to Guru. If the wealth comes, lot of wealth comes, we should transfer it to Guru. If anything, pride, prestige comes, we should transfer it to the Guru. That you take care of it. I cannot take care of it. That is maturity. And that requires honesty. And we should be honest. We should understand where we are. What are we? We should not try to prematurely act as advanced devotees, because then we will have a fall down eventually. So, it is said that Maya is like electricity. If we know how to handle electricity, we will have light. We will have heating, cooling system, etc. But if we just go and touch the electric poles, then we'll die. So similarly, we have to understand that if I can handle, then I can handle, and I should handle it with maturity. If I cannot, I should be honest, take guidance, or give it or pass it on to the senior devotees or Guru. That is how we should do. So then comes the example of Shivananda Sen. Shivananda Sen delivered the dog. He was following the party of Lord Chaitanya to Puri, and Shivananda Sen delivered the dog by his association by feeding prasad. But just see, in Bhagavatam, we see Bharat Maharaj handled the deer, but he fell down. So it really depends upon what consciousness we are handling with. What is our intention behind it? Intention may be pure, but are we advanced? That also we have to understand. Sometimes we may do things and we may say, this Prabhuji, I'm doing this for preaching. This is what I mean. If I do not do this, if I do not preach in this way, people will not come. But the truth may be that we are attached to that thing. That is why we are doing that thing, and then we are covering it with preaching. I am preaching because that's why I am doing all these things. It may not be in mainstream Krishna consciousness, but I'm doing this because I want to preach. But idea may be that I am attached. I'm not able to leave it, so I'm doing it and then covering it and giving it to the name of preaching. That is cheating again. So honesty is very difficult to practice. Very difficult to practice. What happens is sometimes when we are in the association of devotees, we start acting very pure. It just happens because we naturally, somebody is humble, then we're also humble. Somebody's sitting or conducting themselves in certain way, we start conducting. We may not actually be there. We may not actually be, that advanced. So honesty is very difficult to practice. Purity, we can, somehow imitate others and, conduct ourselves. We may not put all the time tilak at the home. When we are in the devotees, we put tilak and then come. So that's what happens. So it's very easy that is the external force, allowing us to act in a certain way. There's the association of devotees, we start acting or behaving in a certain way. But when we are by ourselves, as we discussed, integrity comes what we do by ourselves. Integrity is when what we do by ourselves is integrity. So that requires honesty. That when we go and admit, I'm not there, I'm not at your level, I do not have that much faith, or I do not have taste for chanting. I'm not chanting with concentration. That is honesty. Honesty is challenging, but it also heals at the same time. We forget that honesty is a very healing process. If we adopt this means, then we will see that when we admit, then the power to overcome also comes by the mercy of the devotees and the parampara. Otherwise, we remain stuck at our situation. The example of Dhruv Maharaj is also there. Dhruv Maharaj wanted a big kingdom. So Narad Muni was trying to, deter him from his path. He said, "You're just a small boy, go back." Dhruv Maharaj was very truthful. He said, "I do not want to settle anything less than the bigger kingdom than my great grandfather." He said like that. He was very honest. He was very open. Narad Muni said, "Okay, now you practice this and then the Lord will come." The Lord gave darshan and he became honest. He said, "I was looking for pieces of broken glass, but now I found the diamond." He was very grateful. And he didn't remain at the status of just finding the broken pieces of glasses. He elevated himself to the pure devotional service. So honesty just doesn't mean we admit it, but we also have to advance and improve and evolve ourselves from that situation. The other example is of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami was entrusted by Lord Chaitanya to give to fulfill certain instructions, and Rupa Goswami did everything, but he couldn't do one thing. That was he couldn't find the deity of Govind Dev Ji. So he was very morose. He was like, I'm not able to find. I'm not able to find. He was very depressed, transcendently depressed. So a sincere devotee focuses on what he's not able to do. Honest devotee tries to focus on what he's not able to achieve. When someone asks us, Prabhuji, how are you doing? How's your spiritual life? We try to present all the good things. Yes, Prabhuji, I'm waking up in the morning. Yes, Prabhuji, I'm doing this. I'm doing this arti. I'm doing this arti. But a sincere devotee would say, Prabhuji, I'm chanting 16 hours, but I'm not able to chant with sincerity. I'm not able to focus. Even though I'm getting up in the morning, I may not be able to focus. So that is honesty. That will uplift us. Then we do something about it. Just not admitting it, but then do something about it. Pray to the Lord or pray for the mercy of the devotees. Then we can overcome that problem. So we have to understand, until this defect is uprooted or discarded, there can be no appearance of the principle of spontaneous lacking for Krishna. So this is so important. These hypocrites only deceive the world by the display of the external insignia of sectarianism and pseudo renunciation. Those who support such people impede the spread of Krishna consciousness. So we're not even supposed to support such organizations, wrong philosophies or wrong spiritual practices. Sometimes we go into deviated philosophies or Mayavad philosophies, and we may think nothing will happen to me. Why should nothing will happen? I'm advanced, I'm mature. So that is first of all first part of fall down, that we think that we are advanced. We don't have fear that we can fall down. Then second thing is that we are propagating such wrong philosophies, um, wrong ideologies, wrong practices. That is that will impede Krishna consciousness, because people will see that cheating is happening outside in the world anyway, and then even the spiritual culture, if this happens, cheating happens, what will happen to their faith? Their faith will shatter. Nobody will accept this Krishna consciousness. And the last thing that we'll discuss is bad mouthing. Bad mouthing means that we tell this Prabhuji did this to me. They're not doing this. They're doing that. They were so unfair to me. And we talk to several people like this. So that is bad mouthing. We are creating lobby, we are creating people against, turning against that devotee. Especially if that devotee is propagating Krishna consciousness movement very sincerely. We should be very careful with doing this. Because that is the first offense to the holy name also, right? One who offends the devotee who is propagating the glories of the holy name is the first offense. So if we are doing this, then it is a great offense. It will just result in our own fall down. So bad mouthing is very bad, and even in that bad mouthing, if you're not focusing on the fact that what I did wrong, now we are covering that, we are thinking that we are good and we are presenting ourselves good to other devotees. That is a tendency. When we see other devotees, just as in marriage proposal, when we are, finding out the match, and the matches, they present their best side. They don't tell, I get angry, or I am attached to this thing, or I'm attached to that. We don't tell all those things. We just present the best side so that we can get married. And then afterwards, all these things come out. Oh, this person has this problem, this person has that problem. So similarly, when we're devotees, we try to present a best side. Or even when we are bad mouthing, we present ourselves as good, ourselves as victim, ourselves as a poor fellow, and then other person is condemned. But we have to be very, very careful. So Lord Chaitanya has said one simple instruction: chant Hare Krishna sincerely and do not criticize Vaishnavas, and I will come and take you back to Godhead. Very simple instruction, but very difficult to follow. But Prabhupada's one example, one pastime I will tell is that once when a disciple of Prabhupada during Prabhupada's time was in Vrindavan, and he went to a local shop to buy something, and the shopkeeper, he knew that is cheating. So this devotee started, chastising, getting angry, getting mad at that person, that you're cheating me and this, that, etc. They went into a verbal fight, and then it fight became physical fight between the Dhamvasi and the disciple of Prabhupada. When Prabhupada came to know, he got so angry. He was like, never offend a Dhamvasi. You get out from Vrindavan. You're not supposed to live here. So we're not even supposed to. Prabhupada said, if you know that person is cheating, there is a certain way, certain mannerism, certain way to communicate that. You don't have to get into verbal fights. You don't have to get into physical fights with that person, with the devotees. Don't do that. You go out. So similarly, we have to understand that a simple Dhamvasi, his only qualification, he must have done so much to get a birth in Dham. He may not be practicing, formal principles of devotional life. Still, that person has to be respected. So what to speak of person who is following everything, is properly initiated in the parampara, is trying to spread Krishna consciousness sincerely? What to speak of such a devotee? So we have to be very, very careful. We should not do bad mouthing, especially if we have certain issues with some devotee. One thing we have to remember is we should go to a mature senior devotee who can help solve the problem from both sides. If we go to our equals or if we go to our juniors, it's not going to help in any way. First of all, they are not in a position to enlighten. An equal person may still do if that person is mature, but if they are little neophyte in spiritual practices, they may not be able to elevate us. They may not be able to help us. They may, even their faith may become shattered. So we should not do all those things. We should go to a mature devotee, speak open heartedly, and also be ready to take corrections. We may be at fault. The other person may not be at fault. So we should be ready to take corrections, and we should also be going to the senior mature Vaishnava and discuss the matter and sort it out. We should not go and create lobby. bad mouthing. That is not recommended. So we come to the end. We just talk about few solutions to overcome these problems. So one is intense Krishna consciousness. There's no other solution but increasing the intensity of our spiritual practice. From that we get raga, spontaneous attachment for Krishna. And once we get raga, we lose tendency for all these duplicitous behavior. We'll be very honest. We'll become very sincere, very simple devotee. Then we should discuss and meditate these pastimes in the presence of devotees. We should contemplate on these pastimes. Before chanting, before beginning the chanting, we should meditate on these pastimes and pray to the, as Rupa Goswami says, pray to the killer of Agha and Baka. That is Krishna, who killed the demons Agha and Baka. And living a life, we should try to live a life which pleases the Paramatma within, which pleases the Supreme Lord, which pleases the Guru. If you're true to the Parampara, if you're true to the Paramatma, if you're true to the Guru, then our life will be full of integrity. Then we can always meditate on this verse of Bhagavad Gita, which is 10:36, where Krishna is saying, Vyutam Chalyatam Chalyatam Asmi. That is, he's saying, I'm the greatest of the cheats. So Krishna is the biggest cheater. We can always meditate that, Krishna, you're the biggest cheater. Please kick out this cheating propensity from my heart. And there are just two beautiful prayers by Raghunath Das Goswami. I'll just read two verses. While here on the revealed path of devotion, I have been attacked by the hideous gang of lust, etc., who have bound my neck with the troublesome, dreadful ropes of wicked deeds. I am being killed. Cry out piteously like this to the devotees of Sri Krishna, the destroyer of Baka. O mine, they will save you from these enemies. So here Raghunath Das Goswami is saying that cry out piteously to the devotees of Krishna, who is the killer of Baka. And in the bracket there is Baka is cheating propensity. So you have to cry out very piteously. That is the solution. And O mind, they will save you from these enemies. O ruffian mind, why do you burn yourself and me, that is the soul, by bathing in the trickling urine of the great donkey of full-blown hypocrisy and duplicity? So again, Raghunath Das Goswami is chastising the mind that you should not be hypocritic and duplicitous. Instead, you should always bathe in the ocean of love emanating from the lotus feet of Shishi Gandharvika Giridhari, thereby delighting yourself and me, that is the soul. So if we can meditate on these prayers or meditate on the mood of these prayers that even such great souls are saying, here also he's saying, Are cheta prodhyata kapat kuti nati bharakhara ksharan mutre snatva hasi katham atmanim apimam sadakam gandharva giridhara patre maglasat Sudam bodau snatva tvam api nitaramam cha sukhaya. So he's saying kapat kuti nati. You have to get rid of this kapat and kuti nati attitude. These are like mutra that we are, or the urine of the donkey that we are bathing in. So praying to the Supreme Lord and the devotees of the Supreme Lord, we can be saved from this demon of BakaSura and basically practicing honesty. So thank you so much for your patient listening and sorry for being over time.
Krishna. So if anyone has any comments, any reflections or additions, questions, His Grace Ramya Prabhu is also present. Thank you, Prabhuji, for tolerating us. And please bless us with your mercy. So, we're a little over time, but anyone wants to say something, feel free.
Hare Krishna, can I say Mataji? Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji and Mataji. Very nice class. We are blessed to have your association, Mataji and Prabhuji. I learned I'm so insignificant, Mataji. So Mataji, I have one question, but before that, I would like to share pastime of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. I listened the lecture of Bhakti Rasamrita Swami Maharaj and Bhakti Vinod Thakur Goswami, and he never afraid of even punishing a person as a mystic yogi in the past, like, and he put him in the jail that time. That yogi was demanding he is Narayan. And then Bhakti Vinod Thakur has to take some physical challenges in his family too, but he never like disturbed because he has total faith on Krishna. And that mystic yogi happened to be has his power in his hair. So when they cut his hair, then everything was settled. And also His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj also telling in his one of his lecture that he was standing in his very early age. He was standing in a queue of taking a darshan of a sannyasi, so-called. And that sannyasi asked Maharaj that why you are here? You should go to United States and enjoy, because I am taking this this sannyasi to enjoy. So, and then that was His Holiness Radhanajami Maharaj was explaining how they are. Those are the like cheating religion. So, Mataji, another point I would like to ask you. From my like childhood, I was learned that when I cook prasadam, as you said, like have to be very proper consciousness also is important when we are cooking prasadam. And I was learned that I can't talk during when I'm cooking prasadam, because speed may come or something, like when I'm following that. But Mataji, that time I'm hearing lectures and so that I have proper consciousness when I'm cooking the prasadam. So do you have, like, can you please tell me something about, like, when I cook prasadam, what I should do?
Please, devotees, just thank you so much for sharing the pastimes, and thank you for your question and your sharing your practices. So you should devotees just hear. And once actually Prabhupada, so one of the, once someone complained about a devotee, he was constantly singing some bhajans of Krishna in Vrindavan kitchen, the temple. And Prabhupada got to know, somebody complained that he's always singing. So Prabhupada said, this is what you're supposed to do. This is the best thing that you can do for while cooking, that you're, spontaneously absorbed through in the songs of previous acharyas and Vaishnavas, and that is the best way of cooking. So we may sing, we may hear. So of course, singing has to be done obviously carefully, as you said, that spit sometimes goes. But if you're careful and if you're able to do that, then there's no harm in singing Krishna's name. But yes, of course, you have to be careful. But if you are, conscious, then you can just hear simply as you're doing. And yes, chanting and hearing helps. That is what, as a grihastha, we should try to do, bare minimum. And some devotees try to meditate on taking the blessings of Mother Yashoda and Radharani before cooking. One of Srila Prabhupada's disciples shared with me that she does that, taking their blessings, because they're expert cooks they're cooking purely for the pleasure of Krishna. And we cook sometimes for us and for the material bodies, to feed the material bodies, to feed our family members. But their cooking is the best cooking, because they're just cooking for Krishna and not for themselves, for their enjoyment. So praying to such devotees, such Vaishnavas, or praying to the Guru Parampara helps.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. I will follow that. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So anyone else has any other comments, additions, or subtractions? Ramya Prabhuji, do you want to say something? I think the Prabhu was saying something. History.
One comment. It looks like the whole class is Mataji is chastising me, targeting me, so that it appeared all the time.
Prabhu is saying out of his honesty that and humility, that in the class it seemed that Mataji is chastising me for Prabhu saying, feeling like that.
It's for everyone, Prabhuji. These demons are there in everyone in some form. Anyway, I'm just repeating what the devotees shared. So it's just the glory of the Guru Parampara, or you can say chastisement of the Guru Parampara for all of us, because I'm just a parrot. I'm just repeating what I've heard, what I've got to know from different devotees. So that is presented as it is. Nothing is my own.
Hare Krishna. I hope it's not too late to say a few words.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Sorry, Prabhuji.
We're already quite late, so let's kind of cross the limits.
Yeah, because I have an appointment coming up very quickly. But I want to thank Mataji for giving a very nice class, inspiring us to, because Krishna consciousness is said to be simple, but at the same time, it's complicated. It's difficult. So what does that mean? It means it's a straightforward, simple process, not like we have to learn hundreds of mantras and chant them, when to chant them, and sit this way and do these things. But it's very straightforward. But we have to also learn that there are steps. We have to become free from offenses, free from attachment. We have to serve the devotees correctly and to properly take shelter, get good instructions. Otherwise, we will not be successful. So, Mataji, she's very kindly instructed us that some of the things we have to be careful about. Because, after all, Krishna Surya Sambhava, Krishna is like the sun. So, if you try to approach the sun directly, you'll get burned up. It's so hot and intense. So we're very fortunate to approach through a bona fide spiritual master, a sincere devotee, who can get us that shelter of Krishna without us having calamity. Some people think they can go directly to Krishna. Oh, Krishna is my guru, Krishna is, but no, it doesn't work like that. Krishna clearly says in the Bhagavad Gita that we have to take shelter and learn from a bona fide spiritual master. So this is all very important. And I think I will conclude there because I have an appointment to go to. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So I guess we'll not make a Guinness record of the longest class, and we'll pause here. And thank you so much for kindly tolerating us and giving this chance to serve. As I think Manjulali said, that this is for all of us. So because somewhere or other, a sincere devotee sees us. I really like that point, that what am I not doing properly and what I need to improve. So sadhaka, which applies to most of us, always has room for improvement. His Grace Visheshika Prabhu says, I live to be corrected, or continual improvement. So if we always have that mood, then we'll certainly have wonderful opportunities to keep growing and keep growing and keep growing in our bhakti. So thank you again for giving this chance, and sorry for the length of the class as well. So tomorrow is Mahatma Prabhu's, His Mahatma Prabhu's retreat. I hope that you all have registered, and if you are able to attend, it will start at 7:30 a.m. and continue till 10 a.m. So, and the following Sunday as well, that is the next Sunday, will be the part 2. So there won't be any Gita class or Bhagavatam class at that point. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam Purana ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samavita Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Vanchakal Patarobhischa Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanam Vaishnavita Namo Namo. Hare Krishna, thank you again
Hare
so
Krishna.
much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Babaji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you.